Okay, I think everyone's here. Please have a seat. We're going to begin. Before you all came in, the band, the Firespitter, was rehearsing, and I can still feel the energy in the room. It's going to be a truly, truly wonderful evening. My name is Mira Narsaños, and I am the sound is okay? Is it okay? Okay. My name is Mira Narsaños. I'm the program director at the Poetry Project, and it's such a huge honor to welcome you all tonight for the celebration of the release of Firespitter, the collected work of Jayne Cortez. Yes, published by Nightboat Books. Yes, there it is. There are copies available for sale at the back. I strongly encourage you to grab one if you haven't done so yet. I know that this book is a true labor of love, and Stephen Motika from Nightboat will say a few words about the book in a few moments. But before we begin, I wanted to thank Denardo Coleman, who is just here at the back. And his band, the Firespitter. I want to thank Denardo for shepherding this event and for keeping his mother's visionary legacy alive. We need it more than ever today. I feel there's some echo with the sound, or are we good? Okay. Over the course of her life, Jayne Cortez read the Poetry Project multiple times. Her first reading dates back to 1983, when she read in the Parish Hall with Miguel Algarin. A few years later, in a reading with Ted Jones, she performed a poem in support of the student movement in South Africa for the brave young students from Soweto, which I found in our archives, and you can listen to online as well, and kept listening to while preparing for this event. Written in 1976, the poem's political and poetic reach feels hauntingly resonant in 2025. The preposition in the title, for, is more than a dedication. It is an act of recognition, a gesture of witness to the students' bravery and the refusal of a political order that keeps refusing them. For the brave young students from Soweto is saying, I saw you then, brave students, and I still see you now, as you barricade the universities and occupy its libraries. Jayne's gaze remains operative in the present tense. No cause was or will ever be forgotten by Jayne Cortez. No exploited people, destitute refugee camp, or forsaken war. The entire world is here, present in each line, holding within itself a consciousness that knows difference while recognizing that all forms of oppression are enmeshed and inseparable. Quote, when I look at this ugliness and think about the Native Americans pushed into the famine of tribal reserves, think about the concentration camps full of sad Palestinians, and the slave quarters still existing in Miami, the diamond factories still operating in Amsterdam and Belgium, the gold market still functioning on Wall Street, end of quote. I'd like to quote more extensively from the poem, but I find it difficult to excerpt Jayne's work. To read only a part of it feels like severing an appendage from a living body, each line depending on the one before and after it, carried forward by rhythm and breath. That pulse is something only the performance of Jayne Cortez's poetry can truly render. And that's why we're here tonight, for Jayne Cortez, to honor her voice through the voices of the readers and performers gathered here this evening. I'd like to express my profound gratitude to LaTasha N, Nevada Diggs. Yes. Lois Griffith, Carrero Lopez, Aja Monet, Tracie Morris, Quincy Troupe, Ty Freedom Ford, Rosamond S. King, Tangie Mitchell, Jessica Carrero, Fred Moten and Brandon Lopez, and Anne Waldman. Yes, we can give them a big round of applause. I'd also like to thank the band Firespitter and all the musicians performing tonight. Denardo Coleman, Al McDowell, Take Blue, James Carter, and Salio Suso. And now I'll turn it over to Stephen Motika from Nightboat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maren. Thanks to all of you for being here. And I really wanted to come up here just to say thank yous to the incredible number of people that worked on getting Firespitter. It was an honor to work with Jayne during her lifetime on the wonderful work behind Yari Yari Pambari, Black Women Writers' Dissection of Globalization in 2004. To work with her, hosting Edouard Glissant, to know her, and so when the invitation came to work on her collected poems, the chance to collect 700 pages of her vision, humor, politics, intuition, rage, verve, and image was too much to say no to. Her work has never been more relevant, and I am thrilled that this book will make her voice available to new readers around the world. A book like this took an amazing collective effort, and I want to give voice to some of the people who helped along the way. I am grateful to the estate, Denardo Coleman and Mel Edwards, for trusting us, the book's editor, Margaret Busby, who put the volume together among many other pressing deadlines. Ruth Esteves provided scans of rare books from her research at Jayne's archives at the Schomburg. Joe Fritsch proofed the book with amazing care and attention. Mel Edwards generously allowed us to use his art on the book, as well as the photo of Jayne on the cover. Camille Brown helped with digitizing Mel's images. Thank you to Sapphire for her brilliant foreword. Thanks to the IF Foundation and for the numerous individual donors who helped to make this book possible. And thank you to Rosamond S. King for always keeping Jayne front and center and for encouraging us to do this book. And now I want to also thank Hanging Loose Press, who published 2 of Jayne's books. But most importantly, I want to thank my colleagues at Nightboat, who have never worked with more dedication on a book. Lindsay Bolt and Emily Bark Brown went through each page to best interpret how to format Jayne's poems for a standard edition, while also confirming spelling and punctuation. Designer Kit Schluter's care and attention to detail is evident in the book's beautiful composition. Lena Bergamini and Dante Silva worked tirelessly on promotion and marketing. Morgan Levine coordinated the campaign to raise funds to make the printing possible. Tonight's launch is just the beginning of what we're now calling the Year of Jayne, with more events and tributes to come. An exhibition, future publications are in the works. I want to thank the band and all of tonight's readers, and finally, a huge thank you to the Poetry Project, especially Maren and Anna for their tireless work putting together the logistics of this evening. And now, I'm going to turn it over to Denardo Coleman.
All right, hello, good evening, everybody. This is just an amazing night. This collection of people only Jayne Cortez could have brought together. The thing is, we decided to do this book a few years ago because we were thinking about, we were in the midst of trying to put an exhibition together, which is still coming. And then Rosamond suggested, you know, the Jayne Cortez book really should be with Nightboat. And so we approached Stephen and have been working on this for a few years now because it is long overdue. Firespitter. So we're here celebrating tonight the launch of the book, but really we're celebrating Jayne Cortez and Jayne Cortez's energy. You know, she was unique in that she created her own energy. You know, we all have energy, and a great artist can tap into energy and make something beautiful, but she was unique and special because she created her own energy. That's why she stands out. That's why the great, great supernovas are what they are. And so to be able to come tonight and to, you know, really bring forth her energy again is just so special for us, and particularly the band, the Firespitters. You know, we've been together with her for many, many years. she was unique in the sense that she didn't separate her work from the music. She encouraged the music to be part of the poems. When we got together, she made sure all of the musicians and all the sounds and melodies integrated with what she was trying to say with the poems. So the Firespitters then became part of her, and she became part of the music. So we were on that journey for like 30 years together. So it's so happy that we could bring, everyone together tonight, to re-establish that energy. And the thing is, when we decided to do something, we started approaching so many poets who said yes immediately. I'm going to put aside whatever I'm doing, and I'm going to be here. And the collection of people here tonight is unprecedented. And so I want to just thank each and every one of the poets that are going to read tonight. Again, I want to thank the Poetry Project for assembling us and putting it all together, Marin and Anna, and they worked so hard. Stephen Motika and the team at Nightboat done such a great job. And so, it's going to be a great night. I mean, Jayne Cortez is what we need right now. She was always talking about the out of balance in the world, And because you talk about the out of balance, that makes you militant. But you're just talking about what needs to be balanced. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to bring that Jayne Cortez energy forward. So just thank everybody for being here. Last but not least, I want to thank two people regarding the book. Stephen mentioned Margaret Busby edited the book. Very close friend of Jayne Cortez. Yeah. There was nobody she would have wanted more than to have Margaret edit the book. And to do the forward, Sapphire. Sapphire was the one. So I just want to give a special thank you to both of them. So we're going to have a great night. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Denardo. And our first reader is Rosamond S. King. Please welcome them to the stage.
So since I am first, all right, Cheerful and Optimistic by Jayne Cortez. Even though I have this radioactive cloud above my head, I am cheerful and optimistic. Even though my reproductive rights are threatened, I'm cheerful and optimistic. Even though I have toxic sludge on my Xmas shoes, I'm cheerful and optimistic. Even though my confirmation dress is such a mess in this acid rain, I am cheerful and optimistic. Even though I eat purple dioxin king crab legs from Exxon, Alaska, I am cheerful and optimistic. Even though the self-appointed saints of our time, Saint Jonas of Savimbi, Saint Joseph Michel Francois of Haiti, and Saint Gacha of Buthelezi are sprinkling us with their filthy holy water of human destruction, I am cheerful and optimistic. Even though I'm having polluted fish for dinner tonight, I'm cheerful and I'm optimistic. I'm cheerful and optimistic, like my computer, like I'm sure all of you, so cheerful, so optimistic, so cheerful, so optimistic, so cheerful and optimistic. Cheerful and Optimistic is from 1994's Fragments, which features Jayne Cortez's poetry and Mel Edwards' Lynch fragments, images of his sculptures. And it was published by Bola Press. It's also the title of the 1994 album, Cheerful and Optimistic, by Jayne Cortez and the Firespitters. So I was privileged to know Jayne and have her as a friend and a mentor. And just a short story is that she used to take me out to lunch. And she would ask me, what is it you want to do? And I didn't need Jayne to encourage me to dream because I had plenty of dreams, but Jayne was about actualizing things. So one day I said to her, well, what I've always wanted to do is go and live in my father's country for a year, which is the Gambia, West Africa. And she said, what you need to do is you need to go on Chuck Davis's Cultural Arts Safari and meet some people there, and then you need to apply for a Fulbright, and then you can get paid to live there for a year. And I said, okay. And I went and I looked up, and Chuck Davis's tour was $3,000. I said, Jayne, that's a lot of money. And she said, and you're gonna invest it in yourself. And then you're gonna get the Fulbright, which is $50,000. And she said it, and it happened. So if nobody has asked you about your dreams lately, I want you to hear Jayne Cortez's voice telling you you can make it happen. This poem is Bata, and it's from 2007, the beautiful book. It's in the Art, Agriculture, and Animals section, also published by Bola Press. And one of the things that I love about the collected poems is that they preserved the covers of the original books, so you don't need to kind of track down every little thing. You really do feel like you have her, some of them are her collages, some of them are images of Mel's sculptures or images that Mel did himself. So this is Bata. I want to stroll on the dance floor, slither and sither, and push through that slow motion row of rolling buttocks to sniff the animal in you. Bata, you are the revelator, the voodoo temple, the wild, aggressive orchestra in the aguardiente, and I swallow your exhaust fumes. I talk that jolly, jolly talk, to provoke anticipation, to shake like a frenetic machete before twirling all up in the jet stream, to cut the cane with you, Bata. You are the humidity, the paniard, the punctuating panther, the purifier of pure fiction, bringing in the orishas, send for abaqua. I'm striking iron on iron with you, Bata. Go ahead, breathe hot breath on my neck. Thank you.
Please welcome Tangie Mitchell.
Saturdays from Festivals and Funerals, 1971. Why do people always choose Saturdays to wig out? I mean, the ones who scream, "Leave me alone, I hate your guts." Why do they always choose 2:05 p.m. Saturdays to say, "Get the hell out of here"? I mean, the ones kicking walls, slamming doors, crushing skulls. Why do they always have to choose Saturdays for me to lift my window and yell, "Shut the fuck up"? And a poem that speaks for itself and has already been brought into the space tonight. For the brave young students in Soweto. Soweto, when I hear your name, I think about you like the 5th Ward in Houston, Texas. One roof of crushed oil drums on the other. 2 black hunters in buckets of blood, walking into the fire of Sharpeville, into the sweet and stink of gold mines, into your children's eyes suffering from malnutrition, while pellets of uranium are loaded onto boats, headed for France, for Israel, for Japan, away from the rivers so full of skulls, and Robben Island so swollen with warriors, and the townships that used to overflow with such apathy and dreams. And I think about the old Mau Mau grieving in beer halls, and the corrupt black leaders singing into police whistles. And I think about the assembly line of dead Hottentots, and the jugular veins of Allende. And once again, how the coffin is divided into dry ink, how the factories move like a white cane, like a volley of bullets in the head of Lumumba. And death is a death life held together by shacks, by widows who cry with their nipples pulled out, by men who shake with electrodes on the tongue. And Soweto, when I hear your name and look at you on the reservation, a Sosa in the humid wrinkles of Shreveport, Louisiana, walking down Fannin Street into the bottom hole in the wall of endurance, I smell the odor of our lives together made of tar paper, the memories opening like stomachs in sawmills, the faces growing old in cigarette burns. And I think about the sacrifices made in Cape Town, the sisters being mauled by police dogs, while the minister of justice rides the tall ship of torture down the Hudson River in New York, while vigilantes under Zulu masks strike through the heartland like robots in military boots with hatchets made of apartheid lips. And Soweto, when I look at this ugliness and see once again how we're divided and forced into fighting each other over a funky job in the sewers of Johannesburg, divided into labor camps fighting over damaged meat and stale bread in Harlem, divided into factions fighting to keep from fighting the ferocious devils who are shooting into the heads of our small children. When I look at this ugliness and think about the Native Americans pushed into the famine of tribal reserves, think about the concentration camps full of sad Palestinians, and the slave quarters still existing in Miami, the diamond factories still operating in Amsterdam, in Belgium, the gold market still functioning on Wall Street, and the scar tissues around our necks swelling with tumors of dead leaves, our bodies exploding like whiskey bottles as the land shrinks into the bones of ancestor Bushmen. And I tell you, Soweto, when I see you stand up in the middle of all this, stand up to the exotic white racists in their armored churches, stand up to these land stealers, infant killers, rapists, and rats, to see you stand among the pangas, the stones, the war clubs, the armadillos dying along this roadside, to see you stand with the ocean, the desert, the birthright of red cliffs, to see you stand with your brave young warriors, courageous and strong-hearted, looking so confident in battle marks coated in grief and gunmetal tears, to see you stand up to this epidemic of expansion and flame passbooks into ashes, fling stones into the mouths of computers, to see you stand on the National Bank of America like monumental sculpture made of stained bullets, to see you stand empty-handed, your shoulders open to the world, each day young blood falling on the earth, to see you stand in the armed struggle next to Mozambique, Angola, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Soweto. I tell you, Soweto, when I see you standing up like this, I think about all the forces in the world confronted by the terrifying rhythms of young students, by their sacrifices, and the revelation that it won't be long now before everything in this world changes.
Lois Griffith is next.
I chose a poem of Jayne Cortez to read, a 2009 poem it's called States of Motion 2. Excuse me. I chose it because I too am obsessed with archiving right at this point in my life, as I feel one of the left standing of so many who have passed. And early on in learning how to write poetry, I met Jayne Cortez way back in the early 1970s as Miguel and I started the cafe. And I listened, and she was a great teacher. She knew about metaphor. She knew about language. She knew how to take the context of the now and turn it into words. And I'm going to read some selections from States of Motion 2. The Afrobeat man strutted into himself with a fabulous shrine of musical instruments on his head. And the palm wine drinker danced into the bush of ghosts with feather woman of the jungle, while the journalist from Chelsea entered his time capsule. And the great poet from Chicago put her latest poem between her lips and climbed into a baobab tree. And a playwright who departed Congo, Brazzaville, left in a theater made of whirlwinds, a rare book dealer buried in cigarette butts and ashes, you remember him, became the first University Place bookshop ghost to inhabit the NYU library. Al Loving, you remember him? Artist. Wrapped his body in 100 painted canvas strips and set off for the Egungun Festival. John Hicks packed up his piano keys and took the Greyhound bus back to St. Louis. Hilton Ruiz entered the other world like a newborn baby. Jackie McLean, remember? Stored his saxophone in the sanctuary and went to watch the sunrise in Harlem. Bodie sent for Raymond, and after blowing reefer smoke on the Secret Poetry Society of America, Pedro Pietri, Bud, put on his Applejack cap and tuxedo t-shirt, then sailed off in an antique telephone booth to have an extended conversation with himself in Tuxedo Junction. And the television journalist from New York, the storyteller from Dakar, the Filipino artist from New Jersey, the pearl diver from Manila, the sergeant from Arkansas, the motorcyclist from Compton, the blues singer from Mississippi, the novelist from Lower East Side, the children from Casamance, the elders in the storm of Katrina, the tenor player from Memphis, the alto player from Brooklyn, the sculptor from Louisiana, the Trinidadian organizer from London, the clarinetist from Baton Rouge, the poet from Houston, the gambler from Los Angeles, the swimming aunt from San Diego, the duo from Alexandria, and the famous actor from North Carolina all waited in the forest for Billy Higgins and other drummers to arrive with conga player Tata Guinness from Cuba. Meanwhile, June Jordan marched away and returned like a good little soldier in June. Benny Andrews, you remember him? Pushed his work to significance, then boarded the afternoon train to Georgia. Octavia Butler became a science fiction teacher on Jupiter. Usmani Sembene taped his battle scars to his camera, put on his everyday cap, puffed on his pipe, and took his cinematic self into the otherworld market as St. Clair born. made his entrance in a new documentary, and Sekou went searching for Sundiata. Elio danced his way back to Colombia. Max Roach crossed meters, kept time, and emboomed until Aimé Césaire carried his volcano of flint and mug of revolt into the Negritude complex. Then everyone came from all directions, going to Texas, going to Tulsa, coming from Havana, staying in Toronto, never leaving Benin City, flying south to sing song with songbirds, going west to Peacock with peacocks, whistling to each other and enjoying transformation with a pantheon of bass players at the gin libation parties. Thank you, Jayne.
Please welcome Aja Monet.
Good evening, everyone. This poem is a new poem that's a work in progress for Jayne Cortez, and I'll be reading a poem of hers later with the Firespitters. So the current working title is Between Surrealist Lines in Surrealist Times. In the beginning, there was the end. Thunder startled, rain odor thrill, raspy road, ridges, river voice with feet and fists, drum dreaming of death doulas dancing pen prints, tiptoeing tenement buildings, rattling wrists raging of rhythms racing pages, daughter of mathematic melancholy melodies and blushing meadows, ovary sister curling rod treaty, the bite of shea butter brews, panicking smiles, gut punch stanzas, impulsive mouth shooting paper cuts in wax poetic ears. Memories walk barefoot on the moonshine floorboards of a mind, moaning for the money-sick movement magicians. Now you see it, now you don't. Martyrs resurrected between the rib cages of promiscuous thoughts, daughter of crosswalk children, hand in hand with roti rum-drunk fathers, police siren-drenched breezes, and weed-whispered vacant lots, daughter of developer-damned landmarks, defiant with gardenia graveyards, daughter of church fans and hallelujah hums hissing from the eyelashes of Ogun, daughter of Oshun prayers on metaphor altars, of corner deli pigeon shit graffiti awnings, barbershop buzz-cut throat thrifting, daughter of African dressmakers and tailor-made braids, of okra stew pots and banku fingertips, of tolerant grins with ginger shot truth-telling, daughter of lost and found objects assembled into honest homes, elders sipping brew on front stoops of fire escape juke joint smoke, daughter of heart pharmacy prescribed love letters, organic health food headphones, daughter of freedom school birds fluttering loose prison chains, of tribal chants re-remembered, escaping the potholes of greedy politician promises, daughter of womb wishes and umbilical cord monologues, blues on the breath, jazz in the veins, the improvisation of silence. Here's a poetic offering for the daughters of Ashe, market women who barter bantering of husbands and sons, sloppy and high on war, slurring on genocide gin. Daughter, we worship, we worry, we will, we carry on the weapon of the healing word and your will, a flame flowering through our veins. In the end, there is always a beginning.
Please welcome Anne Waldman with Devin Braja Waldman.
Thank you so much. This is so incredible and so overdue, and it just feels what we need right now. And I've been referring to this Etel Adnan quote. And I'll say a few words about Jayne. Just, who are we, us, the children of history? Whose, which period? What side of history? The wars or the poems? The queens or the strangers? On which side of whose history are we going to be? Are we going to be? Jayne Cortez was still is a force, pioneer, founder, a consummate poet and griot who went to the heart of every intense spiritual, ethical, humanist matter with a fierce love and ethical, visionary independence that could be scathing, could be tender, could be loving, but always came from the gut and the heart, her eye, ear, part of who she was as person, and as great, great public poet, a poet of the people, an emboldening poet of the people, a citizen for the people. She suffered no fools. She stood tall, a political and cultural activist, a seer. Everything she has written is so relevant now. And the beautiful Lois, that reading, just all the amazing details and poems to sit with also and read with this amazing book that we have in hand. So just all the things I felt I shared. I was in awe of her. She was, a bit intimidating at times, but these things of, starting her own press, working with her family, the music that's so key, as we were hearing from Denardo, that it had to be entangled in that way. So we crossed, paths in these endeavors in this place. I think this was one of the last places I saw her before she died. And to keep the world safe for poetry and for art, seeing art as a place for transmission, jazz as a kind of religion. So growing up with these things with her, Poetry in Motion with Ron Mann, Giorno Poetry Systems with Life as a Killer, and she took a stand on the nuke stuff more than most, and I think of that, when we were trying to close down Rocky Flats in the 70s, Ginsberg and Ellsberg and so on, just, feeling so in sync and inspired by her vision, her view of how to live, how to make a society in this world. So we're gonna do a little medley and of things with apologies to Denardo, because we do, one of these things that has been done already, but playing with a couple of things here. And just a few lines for Jayne. Having a dream, everywhere, the globe not big enough. Carrier waves, carrying that, what? Senegal. I show my grandchild in Mexico, where on the little globe, move in awe, an extra mile beyond our serotonin, move it up, take a step higher. Thank you, Jayne, a step higher. So we'll start with, we kind of condensed a little bit, Maintain Control, great poem. I wanted to do the things that just feel so intense right now. Do a little violence and a little bit of the Chernobyl. Where are you going? Where have you been? Where are you going? Where have you been? When you rush to the job and time clock the car, then step up production to pay for corruption, but have no deductions to pay for your pension. Pay for your strike fund to maintain control. Maintain control. Maintain control. Where are you going? Where have you been? Where are you going? Where have you been? When you throw down your coat, kick off your shoes, and drink down your booze, and turn on the beat, and strike up a groove to wear out your feet, and wear out the drummer, trying to wonder, what is the number 2? Maintain control. Maintain control. Maintain control. Where are you going? Where have you been? Where are you going? Where have you been? when you eat up the eats, drink up the drinks, and smoke up the smokes, and crack up the crack, and blot out your visions, to blot out your values, and find no solution to your pollution, to maintain control, maintain control. Where you going? Where you've been? Where you been? Where you going? When you numb down your brain and dilate your eyes and coke up your nose and asbesto your sniff and proclaim your lips and jolt up your heart to stagnate your life and push out your violence, count up the gadgets and push out your violence, litter up the planet, to maintain control, maintain control, maintain control. Where are you going? Where have you been? Where are you going? And what have you done? And who made you do it? And what did you see? And who made you see it? And what do you need to pull up your courage? And what do you need? And how will you get it? To maintain control. Maintain control. And who's in control? To maintain control of what's in control. To maintain control. Maintain control. Deadly radiation blues. I've seen rubble left by earthquakes, seen erupting volcanoes and devastating avalanches too. I've seen typhoons rising from the oceans, seen tornadoes, ripping hurricanes howling, and forest fires out of control. Now a nuclear reactor is exploding, and I've got those Chernobyl 3 Mile Island blues. I've seen flash floods and landslides, seen streets turning into rivers roaring. I've seen thunderbolts and cyclones and seen blizzards and sandstorms blasting and blowing. Now a nuclear reactor is exploding, and I've got those Chernobyl 3 Mile Island blues. I've seen photos of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I've heard cries swirling from a chemical plant in Bhopal, India. I've seen radioactive dust in Nevada and Utah. Heard screams echoing from the Ural Mountains too. Now a nuclear reactor is exploding, and I've got those Chernobyl 3 Mile Island blues. I've thrown away milk and lettuce, washed my hair, my hands, and my shoes. But the winds keep shifting and drifting, and I've got those 3 Mile Island blues. Nuclear power plants can't be dismantled. No way to dispose of the waste. We've got to shut down those reactors, or have those blues. Deadly radiation, level high, deadly radiation flying in the sky, swarming with debris, dropping in the sea. Deadly radiation forming other clouds. Deadly radiation steaming in the bowels. Deadly radiation falling through and through. I've got the Chernobyl Violence, violence, violence. The violence that's living in us so deep. This human violence, structural violence, behavioral violence, sexual violence. Leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there. Pain, leave no traces. Depression, repression, suppression, oppression, depression, repression, suppression. Leave it there. Leave it there. Pain, leave no traces. Avoid the pain. Leave no traces. Pain, grief, and fear, and blood, and pain. Leave no traces. The violence inside of us is deep, so deep. Give it up. If you don't really want it, give it up. You don't really want it. Give it up. Give it up. That clean violence, competitive relying on it. That modern violence, the traditional violence, that violence for the sake of violence. Necessary, unnecessary violence. Let the violence be. No, give it up. Give it up. You don't really want it. You don't really want it. Oh, give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Oh. Jayne, tell it again. Give it up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Devin.
Ty Freedom Ford is next.
So honored to be here to celebrate the spirit of Mama Jayne. I'm gonna read a poem called Festivals and Funerals. They winged his spirit and wounded his tongue, but death was slow coming. They winged his spirit and wounded his tongue, but death was slow coming. Flash, I lost a good friend and I loved him. I lost a good friend and I loved him. COD, collect on death. Collect on death, collect on death. Thorns on his casket, thorns on his casket. Roses red as my eyes, red, red, red. Red as the black man's blood consumed by vultures, red, 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 red like the open head of a panther, red, 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 red. Who killed Lumumba? What killed Malcolm? Who killed Lumumba? What killed Malcolm? There are no tears. We have no friends. This is the word. There are no tears. We have no friends. This is the word. Before creation and after destruction, the word. Winding through poverty and bleeding into lips of the blues, screaming under oil fields, stretching across swamp fields and laughing outside minefields, the word. Murmuring through veins of gold, crying inside the crumbled, crushed bones of Cheney against navels of beating flesh, walking the streets of Harlem on the rusty rims of a needle, the word, coming through like axes, a million-year lesson book on solitude. We are alone. There are no tears. We have no friends. This is the word. Who killed Lumumba? What killed Malcolm? There are no tears. We have no friends. That is the word. Festivals and funerals. festivals and funerals, festivals and funerals and festivals and funerals, and bebop livers of love so hurt, and wailing hearts of fear so sad, the word. Back when burgundy tongues of oppression became creators of masculinity and the legends of love, sitting on milk crates, the word. Back when poets screamed, kill, run, kill, walk, kill, crawl, niggas, give me your money, anything, shame, the word, shame. Enemy to revolutions, that lesbian conspiracy. Back when cultural vaginas rushed through the streets, urging men to die for shame. Dashikis in the when we knew the novelty of death. Cadillacs and cocaine and every hole stuffed in our heads, pain. The word was love offerings from nighttime men to bleed time women, reeking factories of blood, time, steel cut fingers, weeping our skills cannot laugh, but our flesh is united. Flesh of our flesh of a flesh in our mouths, on the head of our souls, from the skin on his eyes up, the breath in our lungs, lacking the beat of our brains, backing the beat of our brains was the speech of his thoughts, and the death of our fear. Through the dark of his meat sits the flesh of a Patrice. Our flesh, of a flesh, is Lumumba. Our flesh, Lumumba flesh. There are no tears. We have no friends. That is the word, the vanguard of precision, the virgin of communications, the erotic improvisation of uprooted perfection, the blue. The blues.
And now Quincy Troupe.
I am New York City by my late great friend, Jayne Cortez. I am New York City. Here is my brain of hot sauce, my tobacco teeth, my mattress of bedbug tongue, legs apart, hand on chin, war on the roof, insults, pointed fingers, push carts, my contraceptives all. Look at my pelvis blushing. I am New York City of blood, police and fried pies. I rub my ducks red with grenadine and jelly madness in a flow of Tokay. My huge skull of pigeons, my seance of peeping toms, my plated ovaries, excuse me, this is my grime, my thigh of steel spoons and toothpicks. I imitate no one. I am New York City of the brown spit and soft tomatoes. Give me my confetti of flesh, my marquee of false nipples, my sideshow of open beaks, in my nose of soot, in my ox-blade eyes, in my ear of Saturday Night Live specials. I eat ha-ha, he, and ho-ho. I am New York City, never change, never sleep, never melt. My shoes are incognito. Cadavers grow from my goatee. Look, I sparkle with shit, with wishbones. My nickname is Gloomy. Take my face of stink bombs, my star-spangled banner of hot dogs. Take my beer can junta, my reptilian ass of footprints, and approach me through life. Approach me through death. Approach me through my widow's peak, through my split ends, my asthmatic laugh. Approach me through my wash rag, half ankle, half elbow. Manage me with your camphor tears. Salute the patina and concrete of my fat tail wig. Face up, face down. Piss into the bite of our handshake. I am New York City, my skillet-headed friend, my fat-bellied comrade. Citizens, break wind with me. Break wind with me.
Next up, Fred Moten and Brandon Lopez.
Day. New York blues. It's Tuesday night in old possum-faced New York City. Sweet daddy spit upon sadness in this fist of 3 vines, of 2 dark lips of sunken blisters in my need more, need more, need more, need more, need more. Need more loving sometimes, baby, please, 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 baby, please, please. And already it's Wednesday morning in the deep end of my river. And like a woman locked outdoors in a storm, I got these mean, wet, kill me, stroke me, will me, kill me, stroke me, kill me. Baby, do me tonight blues. May I present Thursday in the moonshine of my weeping willow, in the lonesome road of my groaning, moaning, sanctified, dignified, sweet-smelling hoochie coo come Friday. And this life-begging request dead and gone. In noontime of my frisky, whiskey money bag cutting mood. Juice up, New York, juice up, juice up. 'Cause I got a fine, warm, satisfying, screaming, deep sea diving, good feeling, papa hopping, skipping, jumping, flying.
Please welcome Carrero Lopez.
So I wanted to bring a couple of Jayne's poems set in Cuba into the space. These come from, hell yeah, clap for that. These come from Somewhere in Advance of Nowhere, 1996. In Gilberto de la Nuez's studio, I am full of Gilberto's paintings, full of his forests and figures of emancipated African ancestors, full of his conga drums, dancing lines and human songbirds singing in the plaza with rumba bands playing Yolanda, Yolanda. It's a warm November morning in El Vedado. Gilberto has lost weight. His hands are shaking. He confesses his circulation is poor and going to the doctor is complicated due to lack of petrol and shortages of medical supplies. I think, God damn this stupid US blockade of Cuba because Cuba wants to be Cuban. It's a warm November morning. I can hear Gilberto saying, it's 1991 and I don't have enough electricity, I don't have enough food, I don't have enough of enough, but I'm still a revolutionary in control of my own thoughts. I'm still a painter in control of these brushes, and even though my health is bad, I still support the Cuban Revolution. Visita, 1981, in Cuba, looking for the great poet Nicolás Guillén in La Habana, in El Vedado, and on street corners with Johnny Ordinary, in bars with Johnny Nobody, and between receptions and presentations at Union of Artists and Writers, in office of Vice Minister of Culture, in the forest of ruffled tail feathers at Tropicana nightclub, and in Santiago, Santiago de Cuba, where José Martí is buried like a perfect poem, where spirit of Antonio Maceo sits like a bronze sunrise, where beauty of Mariana Grajales, who saw her 15 sons fall into claws of 15 buzzards, circulates, where blood of heroes illuminate in deepness of Moncada barracks, where old trova come leaping from new trova, and we are the trovas on the road to Bayamo, the road where I swear I hear bass droning voice of Jesus Menendez. I swear I see those black facial gestures meeting my facial gestures in brightness of the cane field that spins before me like a dream of the sun dressed in fuchsia and melting into folk lyrics of Camagüey, and merging with lime-colored palm leaves, and blowing with tobacco smoke through X cross-section of everything cross and crisscrossing like bulls, fly wings, goats, dry grass, horses, gauchos, and this bus, this wah-wah, pulling into this city of huge clay pots, city of clear water, city of charcoal, reddish mud, city of caramel sand, city with Indian name, Camagüey. Camagüey, city, birthplace of Nicolás Guillén, special like the clay pots, caramel like the sand. And in advance of walking on Trinidad cobblestones, and before passing Sancti Spiritus, Sierra del Escambray, then returning to La Habana for homage to Wilfredo Lam, it would be so nice to meet Nicolás Guillén here at the Friendship House, or in a study circle, or with the Federation of Women. It would be so nice to meet the poet who gave us the riddles, the tropics, the great zoo, and Che Comandante. I would like to meet Nicolás Guillén before leaving the 1952 turquoise Studebaker, the 1948 painted Dynaflow Buick, the 1955 lemon yellow Chevy, and the steam-rolling diesel truck in the sky. Honk, honk, honk. I would like to meet Nicolás Guillén while I'm dazzling in the pure energy of Cuba and getting the same serene feeling I get after arriving in West Africa. No heavy load of racism on my shoulders. And while I feel happy about nothing in particular, just happy, like a baby in the baby brigade, like children in childcare centers, not fearful of knowing each other, just free and jaunty. You know, jauntiness, not in the dumps of constant depression, not hanging on edge of an epidemic of stress, but cheerful and sunny, like sun bursting through pollution on late stormy afternoons. Understand, not soft, not hardcore, not threatened, but protected. I would like to meet Nicolás Guillén in this mood, in this place, at this time.
Please welcome Jessica Carrero.
Thank you. I was really honored to know Jayne Cortez. She invited me in my 20s to be a poet and voice at the Yari Yari Women's Conference at NYU, and changed my life because I got to meet Octavia Butler and many other writers that I looked up to. And we shared lots of stages and lots of laughs and jokes, and she was a very incredibly beautiful person, outside and inside, very humble and full of fire. And I was honored that she saw me, and then when I saw her with the Firespitters, I saw myself. And I saw that what was possible with my work. So incredibly grateful to be here. This is a poem from a series of poems I'm writing called No Dead Goats, and I'll be reading later a poem by Jayne Cortez with the band. Are you a shout or a holler, a 3-bar, 12, or 8-bar blues? Depends on what year you enter this language, this atmosphere will hold the sunlight and daybreak and heartache. This is the blues for the anchor dreamer, a work song, a black nerve, freedom spiritual, a whisper, a code. A declaration of sovereignty and antebellum blues. A 125th Street rumble beneath your walk still felt the after hours, the entrance point, uptown, the boogie down Bronx. Maybe your head nod is 50 years old. Maybe you a 1968 soul bird, 3 feet high and rising in 1989. The stakes is still high here. Dilla, Tribe, KRS, Big L, Run DMC, Rakim, Nas, Lauren, Missy Elliott, Muhammad D, Left Eye, Lady Bud, Mecca, Pharaoh, Outkast, Killer Mike, Black Star, the cassette tape, the breakdance, the graffiti, the DJ, Baten, DMX, Zaki, Morrison, Sekou, Betty Davis, Ruby, and Ozzy. No dead goats. It's in the water. It's in the secret handshakes. It's in the undertow. It's in the forgotten stories. Welcome, ancestors Jayne Cortez, Amiri Baraka, Nikki Giovanni, Toni Morrison. Somebody burn the sage. Disguise yourself as anything but yourself. Welcome, survivors, Firespitters, James Carter, Tracie Morris, Aja Monet, Ty Freedom 4, LaTasha N, Quincy Troupe. Drummers, poets, architects of sound, beatbox, moonwalk, hopscotch, double dutch, just enough. Pieces of a man. Gil Scott-Heron lives in the lines of our hands. No dead goats. Poets of the apocalypse now. Torchbearers for the forgotten. Shout out to the liars. Much love to the letter writers, the organizers, the rebellions, Detroit, Chicago, Newark. How you new Negroes find your freedom without Google? There are no fares to pay. No one owns any shares. There is no board of directors, no new age gatekeepers, no NFTs. We're not interested in white silence or heroes for that matter. We are not creative abolitionists, black-ass French Cadillacs. We are freedom fighters. We do not lie our bodies down in the name of the Holy Ghost. We are not ghosts. We just the ones who never left, refuse to be plowed over, renamed, and rebranded. We ban all words beginning with R-E except revolution. New is a code word for erasure. New is a code word for erasure. Our Father, who art, who draw, who paint, who resurrect color into black cannon, into spray paint ammunition. Thy kingdom come. Where you from? Who the water girl? Where the offerings to Yemenyan? When the monarchy gonna melt down all their Middle Passage found, everything they stole from Africa into bright, pretty pearls for all our illuminated daughters of the diaspora. Now that's the Jayne Cortez blues poem. We're the Spitfire spirituals, the poems about the ones who did not go peacefully. We didn't ask the water to save us, but water knew. All these fine mermaids were born Atlanta Black in 1619. Nina Simone No dragged and held captive on the bottom of a nightmare ship. We do not want to hear how you saved us. I'm not interested in your gaze. You surprised I'm not here to entertain you? These blues never leave you. This blackness will never betray you. We here to the finish line of all finish lines, baby, till eternity. No dead goats. Long live Jayne Cortez. Thank you.
Long live Jayne Cortez. Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you to all our readers for your extraordinary selection of Jayne's work. Yes. Up next, we have a very special performance by the Firespitters. Yes, and the Firespitters originated in 1980. It was a band that Denardo Coleman and Jayne Cortez started together, and they're still here performing today. So what an honor to have these wonderful musicians join us. I want to thank them again. Denardo Coleman, Al McDowell, Take Blue, James Carter, and Salu Suso, who will be joined by 4 of our readers, Aja Monet, Tracie Morris, LaTasha N. Nevada Diggs, and Jessica Carrero. So please join me in welcoming the Firespitters. Woo!
Taking the blues back home. I'm taking the blues back home. I'm taking the blues back home. I'm taking the blues, taking the blues, taking the blues back home. I'm taking the blues back to where the blues stealers won't go. I'm taking the blues back home. Because the blues stealers like to steal. When they think they have nothing of their own, I'm taking the blues back home. 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 I'm taking the blues back to the Firespitters. I'm taking the blues back to the damn undergrowth. I'm taking the blues back to where the blues stealers won't go. I'm taking the blues back home. 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 I'm taking the blues out of the mouth of the stealer. I'm taking the blues out of the western stream. I'm taking the blues back before somebody sings. Ain't nobody's business if I steal your blues. Back home. I'm taking the blues back home. Taking the blues back home. Back home before Robert Johnson comes from the graveyard and says, the blues has been cracked on. I'm taking the blues back to the crossroads. go. I'm taking the blues back home. Back home. Before Langston Hughes returns to say, they've taken my blues again and gone. I'm taking the blues. 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 I'm taking the blues back home. I'm the owner of the blues. And I'm taking the blues back home. The blues that came to me from the slave owners. The blues that came to me from the death trips. The blues that came to me from my ancestors. The blues that came to me in the spell that tells me through birth that I am the owner. I am the owner. I am the owner of the blues. I am the owner of the blues. I am the owner of the blues. From a long, long time ago. Long, long time ago. I'm the owner. I'm the owner of the blues. I'm the owner of the blues for a long, long time ago. I'm the owner of the blues. And even if somebody says they have the right to sing the blues, I'm still the owner. I'm still the owner of the secrets in the blues from a long time ago. I'm the owner of the blues. And even if somebody pays to play the blues and use the blues, I'm still the owner. I'm still the owner. I'm still the owner. I'm still the owner of the blues from a long time ago. A long time ago. And I'm taking the blues. I'm taking the blues. I'm taking the blues. I'm taking the blues back home. I'm taking the blues. Taking the blues. Taking the blues back home. I'm taking the blues back home. I'm taking the blues back. Taking the blues back. So where the blues stealers won't go, I'm taking the blues back home.
Wow. Next up, LaTasha N, Nevada Diggs. Woo!
You know I ain't starting immediately. They want the oil, but they don't want the money. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people, the people, the people, the people, the people. They want the oil, but they do not want the people. Just like they want the land in Gaza, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They're the one with the people. They want the people. They don't want people. The people, the people, the people, the people, the people, the people, the people. They want the They want the oil, but they don't want the people. They want the oil, but they do not want the people. They want the oil, they want the Find your own voice and use it. Use your own voice and find it. Find your own voice and use it. Use your own voice and find it. The sounds of drizzle on dry leaves are not like sounds of insults between pedestrians. Those women laughing in the window do not sound like air conditioners on the brick. The river turtle does not breathe like a slithering boa constrictor. The roar of a bull is not like the cackle of a hyena. The growl of a sea leopard is not like the teething cry of a baby. The slash of a barracuda is not like the gulp of a leaping whale. The speech of a tiger shark is not like the bark of an eagle fish. The scent of gardenia is not like the scent of a tangerine. Find your own voice and use it. Use your own voice and find it. Find your own voice and use it. Use your own voice and find it. Find your own voice and use it. Use your own voice and find it. Find your own voice and use it. Use your own voice and find it. voice and use it. Use your own voice and find it. Find your own voice and use it. Use your own voice and find 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 it.
Thank you so much, LaTasha. And our last reader for this evening is Jessica Carrero.
I just want to acknowledge that I came up with some bad motherfuckers in the roaring 90s. Tracie, you're so good to hear you. It's so good to hear you. Thank you, LaTasha. So good to hear you. So good to hear you. I've been knowing these women for 30 years. So good to hear you, Aja. So good to hear the continuum continuing. Some bad motherfuckers. Anyway, yeah, y'all ready? Yeah, all right, let's do it. There it is. of toxic shock syndrome. Try to pump all the resources of the world into their own veins and fly off into the wild blue yonder to pollute another planet. And if we don't fight, and if we don't resist, and if we don't organize and unify and get the power to control our own lives, then we will wear the exaggerated look of captivity, the stylish look of religion, the bizarre look of suicide, the dehumanized look of fear, and the decomposed look of repression forever and ever 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 and ever. And there it is. And there it is. Jayne Cortez, and there it is. Firespitters, and there it is. And here we are. And there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Here the fuck we are. Jayne Cortez. Firespitters, I love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. This was an incredible performance. We're not quite done yet. We're bringing in the voice of Jayne Cortez to end this evening with a video recorded in 1979 in which Jayne reads for the brave young students in Soweto. So if you want to stick around for a couple of minutes just to hear this incredible archival footage.
Gratitude to our chairman, David Leverance, as well as to Dean Gary for the assistance and support that made this possible. As you know, we're going to be hearing today Calvin Hernton, Quincy Troupe, and Jayne Cortez. Jayne Cortez, our writer-in-residence. This is our tribute to her as well as to her colleagues. We're going to start with the jazz professors of Livingston who will be accompanying Jayne Cortez. We have Larry Ridley, who is our music department chairman, on bass, Steve Nelson on vibes, and Yusuf Ali on drums.
Young students in Soweto, South Africa. Soweto, when I hear your name, I think about you like the 5th Ward in Houston, Texas. One roof of crushed oil drums on the other. 2 black hunters in buckets of blood, walking into the fire of Sharpeville, into the sweat and stink of gold mines, into your children's eyes suffering from malnutrition, while pellets of uranium are loaded onto boats headed for France, for Israel, for Japan, away from the river so full of skulls, and Robben Island so swollen with warriors, and the townships that used to overflow with such apathy and dreams. And I think about the old Mau Mau grieving in beer halls, and the corrupt black leaders singing into police whistles. And I think about the assembly line of dead Hottentots, and the jugular veins of Allende. And once again, how the coffin is divided into dry ink. How the factory moves like a white cane, like a volley of bullets in the head of Lumumba. And death is a death life held together by shacks, by widows who cry with their nipples pulled out, by men who shake with electrodes on the tongue. And Soweto, when I hear your name and look at you on the reservation, a Sosa in the humid wrinkles of Shreveport, Louisiana, walking down Fannin Street into the bottom hole in the wall of endurance. I smell the odor of our lives together made of tar paper, the memories opening like stomachs in sawmills, the faces growing old in cigarette burns, and I think about the sacrifices made in Cape Town. The sisters being mauled by police dogs while the minister of justice rides the tall ship of torture down the Hudson River in New York, while vigilante under Zulu mask strike through the heartland like robots in military boots with hatchets made of apartheid lips. And Soweto, when I look at this ugliness and see once again how we're divided and forced into fighting each other over a funky job in the sewers of Johannesburg, divided into labor camps, fighting over damaged meat and stale bread in Harlem, divided into factions, fighting to keep from fighting the ferocious men who are shooting into the heads of our small children. When I look at this ugliness and think about the Native Americans pushed into the famine of tribal reserves, think about the concentration camps full of sad Palestinians and the slave quarters still existing in Miami, the diamond factories still operating in Amsterdam, the gold market still functioning on Wall Street, and the scar tissues around our necks swelling with tumors of dead leaves, our bodies exploding like whiskey bottles as the land shrinks into the home of ancestor Bushmen. And I tell you, Soweto, when I see you stand up in the middle of all this, stand up to the exotic white racists in their armored churches, stand up to these land stealers, infant killers, rapists, and rats, to see you stand among the pangas, the stones, the war clubs, the armadillos dying along this roadside, to see you stand with the ocean, the desert, the birthright of red cliffs, to see you stand with your brave young warriors, courageous and strong-hearted, looking so confident in battle marks coated in grief and gunmetal tears, to see you stand up to this epidemic of expansion and flame past books into ashes, fling stones into the mouths of computers, to see you stand on the National Bank of America like monumental sculpture made of stained bullets, to see you stand empty-handed, your shoulders open to the world, each day young blood falling on the earth, to see you stand in the armed struggle next to Mozambique, Angola, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Soweto. I tell you, Soweto, when I see you standing up like this, I think about all the forces in the world confronted by the terrifying rhythms of young students, by their sacrifices, and the revelation that it won't be long now before everything in this world changes. I don't want the hum of elastic bands in my ears, stalagmites of green whiskey hanging from my ceiling. I don't want the blowpipes dropping to the lowlands with my skull. And don't give me your breath smelling itself against my windows. Not the Banglefoot stars trembling through a mask of leopard sky. Not the breeding ground mescaline swine bristles rising in a pack of metal fangs. I don't want a night of contusions, without fumes swelling salvos in my deep holes, without electric bullions in the middle of my personal seance of contracting pulsar. And don't give me the fading luck moles from cheeks of a withered saint. I don't want no ghost face evening to be tangled in my spirit, in my look, in my smell, with my ashes on the streets where they say, what's happening, ha-ha, and the choir wears orange lace shoes. Don't give me this hard up nothing without nothing, two nothings together on the town, nothing divided by night into nothing but night into white burning snot blow away. And don't show me the filthy veins on your razor-strapped tail. And take those 5 strands of hair off my floor. And don't put your knuckles on my light bulb. And take your stinky socks off my rug. And don't whistle in my hall, and don't suck on my ice, and don't rattle my table between your lips, and don't spray your piss against my bamboo shade. And don't give me your disaster, your relief, your squeal of walkie-talkie memories. Not the styrofoam moon passing through a convulsion of crickets, not a consultation of pig snouts sticking out like frozen torsos. Not pus overflowing from eyes of a pink fox. I don't want no syndicated lush-faced night bloated against my scaly leg tremolo, and that's it.
That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jayne Cortez. Thank you so much to all our readers tonight. Thank you to the Firespitters. Thank you all for coming. I also want to thank the Poetry Project staff working tonight, Ana Cataldo for her extraordinary coordination, our sound technicians, James and Ayaz, Gary at videography, staff support, Will, Heather, Kay, and Anna, and please come back to the Poetry Project. Thank you.